Welcome to Wednesday, the 30th day of July, 2025. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by the Advocates Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, don't face it alone. Get an experienced local Wyoming attorney on your side. Free consultations at wyomingadvocates.com or call 307-800-1952. You deserve an advocate. Well, it's going to be another busy day of thunderstorm activity across the Intermountain West and the Western High Plains. As you can see there from the picture from Sam, the hail got over an inch in diameter at times in parts of west central and central Wyoming late yesterday. Then overnight, showers and thunderstorms developed, finally bringing rain to some dry areas, but also severe weather as well. And today, things really aren't that much different. So it's going to be kind of a similar setup today. Showers and thunderstorms will be likely. With the subtropical moisture in place, they will be heavy in some areas. Overall, the trend is cooler. Not only here, but I'm sure you've been hearing about the heat wave in other parts of the United States. Even those areas are going to cool down as the pattern is shifting as we leave July and heading into early August, as we talked about yesterday. The monsoon door will get closed with this pattern shift starting over the weekend and into early next week, but then it opens up again, and kind of an interesting opening. And we'll talk about that because that may give a glimmer of hope to our watchers of this podcast in Western Colorado, Utah, and parts of Arizona. We'll talk about that here in a moment. In the meantime, lots of photos from yesterday's activity that kept going into the nighttime hours. A great shot there from the Casper Air Tanker Base where they've gotten busy. A lot of lightning-started fires across many areas here over the last week or two. Hopefully, the rain from these showers and thunderstorms yesterday helped, but they probably already have started more. Thunderstorm activity rolled through central Wyoming yesterday, producing a heavy thunderstorm that went through the Casper. In Natrona County Airport, a quick half-inch of rain with that system as it came on through. So we had a lot of really good cloud formations, and from the Laramie Valley, you could see those thunderstorms building across east central Wyoming yesterday. And a heavy thunderstorm pattern developed just north of Cheyenne yesterday before sliding off to the east and dissipating, as you can see across eastern Wyoming and the front range of Colorado, especially south of the Palmer Divide, south of Denver through the Colorado Springs into the Pueblo area. Lots of flash flood warnings were issued yesterday, and we may see that again today. When you see a rain shaft like that, that straight line going all the way to the ground, hard to see through, boy, you're getting that very heavy rain that you're going to get in this pattern. All the way out into North Platte, Nebraska. Then we have the contrast. And we'll look at this later, especially after the month of July is over when we get the July data in. But the contrast between the eastern side of the Continental Divide to the western side of the Continental Divide has been remarkable this year. It's feasting on rain and green prairies and really adequate rainfall, or more than adequate, on the eastern side of Colorado. And this is really true along the Continental Divide in many areas, New Mexico as well, where the moisture has just been concentrated. The monsoonal moisture has just been on the eastern side of the divide. And when it gets on the western side of the divide, we get pictures like this to where it just seems like the clouds, they get started, but that dry soil moisture really does. When you have low soil moisture, that does make it harder for afternoon and evening thunderstorms to get going. And the only way you really kind of bust this pattern is to finally get one or two of those soaker thunderstorms that can kind of tip the scales for you. So you end up with pictures west of the Continental Divide like this, with the smoke and haze in Utah and in northwest Colorado. Kind of dreary on one side of the divide, not so dreary on the other. Going very far west of the divide, shot there from Mount Tom in the Sierra Nevada, California, with clear skies. And so as we go into other places where the action wasn't as busy yesterday, we have beautiful sunsets across the region. Now, a lot of you send photos like this where we get these lines in the sky that basically it's a little hard to pronounce, but those rays you get are basically the sun at a low angle, sunrises or sunsets, where basically you just get cloud shadows and it looks like there's lines in the sky. Then going around the world, weather around the world, no dancing weather girls today, but we do have a beautiful shot of a sunset in Poland. Always good to see what's going on other sides of the world. Gonna show you this briefly because for those of you in Platte County, Wyoming, yes, it actually rained in Wheatland. It's hard to see, but it does say Wheatland there. Some heavy thunderstorms finally going through there, and some really significant rain with some of those showers and thunderstorms yesterday evening and last night. Early this morning, this kind of looks familiar, doesn't it? We have another area of showers and thunderstorms that continued overnight in clusters, these mesoscale convective complexes. Those are disappointing this morning as they rotate around the high. But these systems right here are going to help be like an air conditioner, cooling things off a little bit across the northern areas. Then the subtropical water feed, it's very concentrated, as we can see right here. And that's where the thunderstorm and shower activity is going to be today. Notice there's a little notch in the pattern. That's one reason why we had those nocturnal thunderstorms. There's possibly another notch rotating around the area again today, but we're basically in the same setup as the last 24 hours. So precipitable water, wherever you see the white and the green and the blue, is where you're going to get the thunderstorm action. So it's a similar setup to yesterday. You can see how deep the moisture is in Montana, parts of Wyoming, out into the plains, out into the northwest Corn Belt. So thunderstorms are going to fire up again today. They are going to get a little bit further west, just a little bit. And also out onto the plains, the drier, stable air up here will keep thunderstorms at bay. We do have a marginal risk for severe weather in the darker green areas. So there's going to be some heavy thunderstorms, as you can see, backed up against the divide. And we do have something that we don't show you very often, but this is from the Weather Prediction Center, highlighting basically where you can have excessive rainfall. Read this as the potential for flash flooding is higher, elevated in the green and the yellow areas. So we have that situation like we did yesterday, that some of these thunderstorms could produce a lot of rain in a short period of time. And as we go into tomorrow, it's basically rinse and repeat. The moisture is basically in the same areas. You're going to see the thunderstorms fire up again in the similar areas. More quiet out there on the plains with the cooler, drier air. But where the moisture meets the higher terrain and the daytime heating, you're going to get the thunderstorms again. And there's a marginal risk for strong thunderstorms along the Colorado Front Range in southeastern Wyoming tomorrow. So it's really 3 days, maybe 4 here. As you can see, there is a excessive rainfall outlook. Not as intense, but it's still there for tomorrow as well. As we get into Friday, there's a little bit of an eastward shift in the moisture. As you can see, drier air punching in a little bit further into Wyoming and western Colorado and Utah. But there's that ring still there. You can see the much drier air coming into the northwest Corn Belt and the Great Lakes. That's one reason why they're going to cool off. And then we're going to see showers and thunderstorms on Friday, shifting a little bit more east, but they're still going to be there. These are the temperature anomalies for the next 5 days. So if you add up the next 5 days, the lower 48 cooling off considerably, even in the really hot areas of the Midwest and the East. Above average temperatures in Canada briefly. That'll change later. And then we're basically looking at a lot of the lower 48 cooling off nicely here over the next 5 days. By early next week, this is the door closing on the monsoon. The high shifts all the way into northwest Mexico. So the flow of air is not as favorable for the subtropic. It gets pushed away. However, this is temporary. This area of low pressure coming into the Pacific Northwest coast is, this is one thing we've seen, a common theme this summer. It's been onshore flow into the Pacific Northwest and California. That's why the West Coast has had a cool summer. The Pacific has just been really busy up here. A lot of times a big high will come up and just sit there, but not this summer. So with this low coming on through, this is going to end up readjusting things. Temporarily, the door to the subtropical moisture closes. Look at that dry air on Monday. This is really, really dry. Really dry air comes in late Sunday into Monday and Tuesday. So you're going to see the Four Corners region and everybody really, really dry out. Now, don't get too sad here. No sad faces. I know for the folks in western Colorado, this is good. This is not good, because this is really low humidity. This is a high fire danger situation. But that low there coming into the Pacific Northwest coast, as it comes through, will readjust things. It'll send a front through. You see this little dimple right here, this is for Wednesday next week, the flow of air starts to come right back again. So the door opens. And we see that right here. Now, you may not think that looks terribly impressive, but this actually is. So this could be, we may turn the frown and make it go, turn the frown upside down, as they say, and bring a better opportunity for Utah, Arizona, down into Las Vegas here. This could be a couple of days, maybe 3 days, where you actually can get some better rain-producing thunderstorms. We'll see. But there is that opportunity. Wanted to highlight that as something that could return by the middle to the end of next week to the region with the pattern shifting around. Have yourself a great Wednesday.